Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to talk about metahumans and animating and retargeting them. Now, I know I said last week that we're going to be talking about motion capture, but I figured there are some people that still like to use the metahuman body, the metahuman skeleton for animations, and maybe want to know how to retarget and use animations with them. There's also some assets that I've seen on the marketplace, like the Polyphoria assets, which the characters, some of the assets do come with metahuman skeleton. You can use metahuman skeleton, which makes them a lot easier to do. You don't have to do all the customizations that I've had to do if you had the mannequin marketplace assets. So I figure I make this video for those people who are going to still be using the metahuman body. Now, before we get started, as always, there's a shout out to my level 2 Patreons. Level 1, get some perks on Discord, and level 2, get the shout out over here like you're seeing on screen and get the videos on early access. There's also a tip or thank you button on YouTube that you can do right now if you like this video and just like to help out. That's brand new. Just click that button. It's like a one-time donation. Highly appreciated, by the way. But if you can't do that, then just leaving a like and leaving a comment for the YouTube algorithm helps a lot too. There's a Twitter where you can follow me. There's the Instagram, sometimes post different stuff in there if you want to follow me there as well. There's the Discord for all your questions. If you have questions, please join Discord. There's almost 1,000 people in there that can help you. I'm there myself sometimes. So if you have any questions about my tutorials or anything Unreal Engine related, just join our Discord server. And with that said, let's get started. Now I'm just going to add my metahuman here. You're supposed to add a metahuman to your project for this to work. So we're going to be working with metahumans. Thanks to Gabriel's Unreal Menagerie, I think that's how you pronounce it. He was the one that when I saw this video gave me that idea to kind of like do this retargeting without having to retarget all the bones. And yeah, let's just get to that. It's a little bit of a workaround / patchwork, but if you do it once and you don't have to do it again, at least for that particular project, and it's much easier than many other retargeting workflows that I've seen for metahumans. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click our blueprint. We're going to go into our body and we're going to select the skeletal mesh. So I'm actually going to browse to where this is. Double click the skeletal mesh, and this is our skeletal mesh. So, okay, it's just like everything else. Nothing has changed. However, there is one little tab that we don't have here that we're going to need when we go to the skeleton, because when you go into the skeleton, remember, just going to the skeleton is this little skeleton icon you have right here. When you go into it, you're only going to see skeleton tree tab and retarget sources. Now, if you go back to your skeletal mesh, you see that there is a tab called Asset Detail. That tab Asset Detail is usually not there. I'd be surprised if you have it, because every project that I open, this tab never comes as default. But this tab has something special hidden in it. So if you go into Windows and enable that tab for the skeleton, bear in mind I'm saying it for the skeleton, not the skeletal mesh. You go here to Asset Details, and you're gonna see this little property that's very surprising, that is super helpful, and it's called Compatible Skeletons. So in here, you're just gonna add a skeleton that can be compatible with the metahuman, and that's it. There's no more retargeting, no more anything. It's that simple. However, it does not end there, because the animations that I have are not made for this particular skeleton. Now, what skeleton am I talking about? I'm talking about the new mannequin skeleton, which I don't think I have. No, I don't have on this project. So all you have to do is go to add feature or content packed, and go to third person. You click add to project. There you go. Now we have the third person mannequin from Unreal Engine 5. And the reason why we need the mannequin from Unreal Engine 5 is because something very particular. If we go back to content, characters, mannequins, meshes, this is the Unreal Engine 5 one. If I open this skeleton, there's not much to it. But you see something very particular here, and some of you may already know what I mean, but if you go back to our metahuman skeleton, you see how the metahuman skeleton looks like compared to this. And if we go back to the actual mannequin, so the mannequin UE4, which is the old one, you see that this pose is a lot more open. So this is one of the obstacles that I was seeing, is the posing, because you can always retarget however many bones you want in the new retargeting way, but it's the posing that is sometimes the problem. So in order to get around that, you now have the new UE4 mannequin, the new UE5 mannequin, which pretty much has the same pose as the metahuman. You're gonna see what I mean by that. So if we go into the metahuman skeleton, just this one right here, all we have to do is throw in a compatible skeleton. You're gonna click the plus button. Now we're going to look for that mannequin. There you go, we have the skeleton, we can throw it in here. There you go, it's that simple. It's already compatible. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use what's already built in. There are many tutorials on the IK retargeter, but we're not going to do any of that. We're going to go into here. We're going to go into rigs, and you already have the retargeters, and the IK rigs made for you by Epic. So you don't have to do anything pretty much. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open this. And you're gonna see that we already have the animations from both. So let's just do this one, double click. There's a jogger, it's jogging. Now that animation, we can export it out and we can add it to the metahuman, but that's just a standard animation that comes with the engine. It doesn't add too much to it. We need to try this out with an actual animation pack. Okay, now one of the animations that we're going to be using is from this close combat animation set. This was free at some point. If you have it, good. If not, just feel free to use any animation pack that contains a mannequin skeleton. And I said that in my previous video. That's why it's so important that if you're going to purchase an animation pack, that it has to have the mannequin skeleton, because otherwise it just messes things up. So we're going to go into close combat. We're going to go into animations. Let's check out the ones in place. So let me see. Let's look at locomotion, idles. Idles are usually the largest ones or the loopy ones. So this is a cool looking one. Let's try to get this animation over here. Now, if you double click this animation, you're going to see that it does have a skeleton. However, it's not the same mannequin skeleton that we had in our IK retargeter, because this IK retargeter has this mannequin skeleton, which is from the new Unreal Engine pack. I know this sounds very confusing, even though these are the same mannequin skeletons, they are in different folders. So you can actually have different mannequin skeletons that are 100% the same, and that's actually how I managed to do what I did in the previous video. Check out the playlist below for that. What we're going to do is we need to get this skeleton. So I'm going to click the skeleton. It's going to take me there. And I know this may be confusing when you see several mannequin skeletons inside one project. It makes no sense, but that's how Unreal rolls. If they are in different folders, if they were created with the same mannequin skeleton, but it's from a different pack, then it's going to inherit the one from that pack. And you have to make it compatible. It may not make sense for you right now, but just wait and see. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Windows and again asset details, so we can make a compatible skeleton. Now this is the wrong one. This is not how you do it, sorry. The one that you have to make compatible with is the one that's in the retargeter. So we have our retargeter here, and all we have to do is we need to go into this mannequin, this one here. So we could click here. It's going to take us to this retargeter. Click here. It's going to take us to this mannequin. And I'm sorry, this skeleton is the one we need. And this is the skeleton that you need to make compatible with the skeleton, the mannequin skeleton came with your pack. And again, very confusing, but just follow the steps. Open the skeletal mannequin where I'm at. Let's go to Windows. Let's go to Asset Details. You see compatible skeletons, and we're going to add the one from the ninja. So we're going to look for that, browse, and then we're going to go back over here. I'm going to throw this one in here. I'm going to close this. Let's just browse to where it is. Close this, open it again, and voila, you have all the animations from that pack. Just that easy. I think this was even easier than the previous video. It's probably a lot less work, but we do have the animations working. There you go. Looking pretty good. As you can see, it follows things exactly the same. There is one thing, however, that I'm noticing. I don't know if you haven't noticed it yet, but with previous animation that I was trying this with, it was even more noticeable. So right now, if you see where his arm is, it's actually a little bit further back than the one from the mannequin. And some animations, to be honest, it doesn't matter. But for this animation, it almost looks like he has his elbows all the way to the outside. So we need to correct for that before we actually export this animation to be used with the metahuman. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the arms. I'm actually going to pause this over here. Yeah, here is very evident, and you can see the difference between the two. I wish we could add a camera to each of these to make things easier. But you can see that his arms are a lot closer to his body than this one. So to kind of correct for that issue, we can go into the arm over here in chain mapping. Just click on the arm, and where you see IK adjustment, you see there's blend to source. If we bring that to 0, and unfortunately, let's just do, so this is how it was before. And if we do 0, this is how it is. So that's the difference. It wasn't letting me use the slider. Okay, so we want it closer to this. So I'm just going to type 0 here and 0 on the right arm. Okay, that helps us a little bit. So if we, that actually looks a lot better. Now, I still think that his arms are a little bit further out. And one thing you have to take into account, if you're using an armored character, you probably want this to be 1, so it doesn't clip through the armor. So this is going to be a case-by-case scenario. I'm just showing you the tools so you can use them. It all depends on what kind of character you're using. If you're using a metahuman that has an armor on him, probably you want to leave it as it was before. But the way that I'm doing is just correcting for the post problems that this had. Now there's another thing called extension, which is this one right here, which I can pull it back or I can pull it forward, and you can see that it kind of corrects that placement of the elbow, which is the elbow is what's giving me problems right now. So if I want the elbow to be a little bit further in, let's do 1.1. That's probably too much, so 1.04. Like that, just a little bit. Just for the right arm. It just helps a lot. Let's do it for the left arm. All the way over here, 1.04. And I think that makes things a lot closer. And the good thing is, if you make it this way, and it's just going to be on every single other animations. All right. Okay, so we have some animations here, and let's export them out so the metahuman can use it. I'm gonna type idle. Let's do this one. Let's export the animation. I'm just gonna export it to the main folder so it's easy to find. Let's export another one. Let's do this one. Looks cool. This is the default jog. I'm not gonna do that one. All right, that one's the one with root motion. Let's do the one without root motion. Let's do this kick. So control and click. Let's do ninja jog, this one, jump and falling. And now we're just going to click here, okay. And there you have it. We have all the animations in there. And now if I take my metahuman that's right here, and I go into sequencer just to make a sequence, let's make a test sequence as we always do. And let's add our metahuman. If you haven't added animations to Metahuman before, know that you do have to delete the control rig and the face board, because otherwise the animation that you're adding is not going to take any effect. However, don't worry, the control rig and the face board are always going to be there for you. You can always call them out whenever you need them, and I'm going to show you how later on. So just going to delete this too. Whoops, I think I just deleted the body. Just delete the control rig, not the body. Okay, we're gonna go into the body and we're gonna go into animations and we're gonna type idle. And you're gonna see that we have the ninja retargeted idle that we had before. There you go. We have our metahuman. Let's just extend this. We have now our metahuman. Let me go to cinematic viewport. It actually looks pretty good, and his hands are well positioned and everything. Everything is looking fine. There's absolutely nothing out of place. And you can see that this animation works fine. Let me look for the other animations that we had. And no, it didn't break. It's just deleting. Sometimes deleting the animations does that. So let's do this, the evasion one. There you go. Boom. He's doing the evasion. That actually looks pretty cool. And this is a pretty cool pack, by the way. I highly recommend it. There you go. Let's try one more for the sake of testing. Let's go to the ninja ones. Jump falling. So, oh, this is perpetual falling. That sucks. Let's go to this one, the kick. The kick looks very cool. Check it out. These are some well-crafted animations, by the way. But my point is, we did it to our metahuman. It needed some workarounds, but it's as easy as it gets. There's no weird retargeting. It's pretty much instantaneous. All you have to do is, if you are confused, you can go back and follow my steps. Just follow along with whatever animation pack you have and try it. The first time you do it, it's gonna be super confusing, but after you do it the first time, you're gonna see it's a breeze. And I know a lot of people have been saying that retargeting is a lot harder now in Unreal Engine 5, or a lot more cumbersome. It's actually not. It's pretty easy. After I discovered that little hidden feature where you pretty much don't have to retarget anything, because the new mannequin has all the Unreal Engine, all the metahuman features, then it makes things super easy. Now that we have our animation here, let's say there's something you want to change. I wouldn't change anything about this animation, but let's say, hey, I miss control rig. Where is control rig? I want to have it. I want to use it. I'm going to tell you how to get it back. It's actually super easy, barely an inconvenience. You're just going to right click on body. You see there is bake to control rig, and we have the asset right here, which is the control rig that we previously had. I'm going to click here, and you're just going to leave all these expressions as default. Don't click reduce keys. It's going to affect things. Just leave everything as it is and click create. It's going to take a second, and it's going to bring control rig back for you to use. And there you go. Now, if you happen to want more to do the changes yourself, what's recommended is that you go here into this little plus button, click here, and go to additive. So if you go to additive, then you can change your metahuman. So what I like to do is just, let's do a key on absolutely everything, and let's make that key linear. Now let's make him face another way. So there you go. Boom, we're going to key that, or if you go here, create a key. Now you see that he is perpetually looking at this side. All right, and the same thing can be done with any other part of the control. So let's say if we wanted to rotate his arm this way, now his arm is going to be that way. I wouldn't use this to change an animation like this, because this animation it's already great as it is. And if you're using control rig after the fact, it's going to be to correct animations. If you want to do it before, might as well just do keyframe animation yourself. But just bring back control rig if you need to kind of get some cool corrections in there if you see that your animation's not working the way you want it. Now let's do, I want to delete that so everything goes back to normal. And what we're going to do is we are going to bake to control rig when it comes to the face, control rig board, create. Now that one actually took a little while, but don't worry, just let it be. It's not going to crash. And I got my control rig bag. So let's change his facial expression. I can actually do this here. Let's add a section. Let's add an additive section over here. Select this one. I'm going to key everything and make it linear. When I do this, I'm keying absolutely every single bone that there is. I just do it because it's much easier than just doing it per controller. So I'm just going to do absolutely everything. And let's say we want him to have an angry face. So I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna switch to local, make him have a little bit of a more angry face, kind of like this. There you go. Got a little bit of a different facial expression in there. And there's other things that we can move over here. That's this one. Like that. And let's say do we want to open his mouth? Let's try to do that. Now let's show a little bit of teeth. Let's just show a little bit of teeth. Like this. There you go. He is really angry and texture streaming is going overboard. I think I already talked about how to get rid of that message. But there you go. Now he has kind of like an angry-ish face. There you go, showing teeth. Pretty cool. Alright, and we have auto key on, so that's going to be permanent. And now I have him kicking with a very angry face. And that's how you bring back control rig for the body and control rig for the face. So you can do cool things like this. You not only are taking advantage of using marketplace animations, but are also using the control rig and everything that's cool about the Metahumans.